Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me, Elisa DeFalco, the occupational therapist and certified manual lymph drainage therapist specialist of 23 years. And we have today to share with you one of our memorable first, and it's called The Mommy and Me. And we also had another title for it. It was called the Pregnancy and Pediatric Class. The reason is that we have massage therapists who like the Mommy and Me title. We have the occupational physical therapist and nurses like the other title. So sometimes when you're wondering what's the inspiration, why the changes in these classes, and it frustrates you, there's a reason behind it. Because we work with over 50 different boards. So we don't mean to frustrate you, but we're addressing everybody. And the first thing about this course I want to share with you is the inspiration was that we just wanted to make up a class. I actually looked online back in 2006. There were no classes on manual lymphatic drainage specific to a pregnancy population. And especially because I was dealing with them with C-sections with tummy tucks. The two go hand in hand, especially in South Florida. You'll see people get the tummy tuck right after they've had the C-section. And there's a lot more to it that grew from there. We started to talk about and investigate, and that's what's going on right now in research, is the possibility of using lymphatic drainage for infertility. But if you want to know about that, you have to come to class, because that's not something that's well known right now. But we have seen, and I've actually had one of my students who was infertile for 10 years. And she came to me crying, saying, I've tried everything. I've had surgeries and nothing is working. And I said, you may have a lot of scar tissue from all these surgeries you're having. Would you like me to offer you lymphatic drainage? I don't know if it can help you or not, but it's not going to hurt you to boost your immune system. And I had a feeling, and I told her, I said, you know what? In 2 months, you're going to be out of my class because you're going to be pregnant. She began to cry. And guess what? 2 months later, she was out of my class. She was pregnant for the first time in 10 years after all that money, after all those surgeries. But that would be just a case study. You're going, Lisa, that's beyond the norm. Well, we've been going beyond the norm, not just me, but researchers have been looking at infertility, what you need to do to get pregnant. There are things for both male and female that we need to look at. And some of the things that are going on, especially in the American population, that affect infertility. Then we go into looking at what is the pregnancy looking like during the pregnancy, and can we help mom with swelling, or are we waiting to the last minute at the 9th month when their legs are all swollen and their feet are swollen? If you've ever heard barefoot and pregnant, yes, I know. I gained 80 pounds with each of my children. I know what big feet are. My feet are 2 sizes larger than what they were before. So maybe you can relate to this. Or maybe you're the person that had a C-section, maybe not just one, maybe 2 or 3. And I've demonstrated this in my classes with my students without them telling me, without them showing me, just by showing them the pitting edema on their legs. I'm able to tell if they had a C-section that was planned or if it was an emergency C-section. Aren't these the kinds of things and the tools and assessments you want to know when you're working with people? And why do they have this little pooch that we call the kangaroo pouch? And they're thinking that they got muscle issues, and maybe it's just lymph because it's hung up on a highway. There's two major highways of the lymph system that are cut from these procedures. And the more times you have it, the worse it gets. So we'll just see if we can pull this up here for a minute. Yeah, it's not wanting to pull up at the moment, but I have a picture of my daughter-in-law who had her third C-section. And I knew that having one was a hard time. Having two, one scar over the other is going to be a problem. But by the time she got to her third emergency C-section, I didn't want to tell her. I knew her legs were going to swell. I knew her abdomen was going to swell. And I knew the next thing she'd be thinking about would probably be, what can I do besides exercise? If this don't work, am I going to go for a tummy tuck, which many people do? So there's pre, there's during, and there's post NLD that we can be doing for these clients, but make sure that you are in contact with their doctor. I would not do any of this unless I first had permission from their physician, because there may be contraindications. So it's a wonderful tool to be used at certain points within the pregnancy from beginning to end with physician permission. And we hope that the inspiration behind the class gives you a little more insight as to why did we put this class together. This is a deeper class. We go into the subfascial lymphatic system, which is the deep lymph system. So if you learn just the basics, this would be a little bit over your head. I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just telling you, this would not be a class I would take unless I had the first three classes ahead, because yeah, there's a lot of deep information to go into this. And we update our PowerPoints every 3 months. So the class that you took 2 years ago has already been updated at least 6 to 8 times because the research we've got. And you'll be really surprised to find out about what's going on with mother's milk. Just FYI, research has shown that it's contaminated in all samples in the United States. So you'll want to learn more about manual lymph drainage for mothers and infants. So we hope to see you in our class. Our number is 954-709-0042. You can text us there if you're busy. We understand that. Just shoot us a text and we'll get back to you at a time convenient for you. You can also get us at Lymph Doctors, LYMPH-DOCTORS, and you will be contacted by Izzy, who is our administrative assistant. And we thank you for coming and joining us, and hope you're looking forward to some of the other things that we have free services, because we know that there's just so much out there, and we're going to have some more of our patients on joining us. So guys, may the lymph be with you in the meantime, and have a great day, and go lymph the world one lymph node at a time.